Hey everybody, welcome back to Curly's Thinking Like a Top 500 guide. Today we're going to be going over support. Now, if you'd like an opportunity to get free coaching done by yours truly, wait until the end of the video for more details. Now, let's learn you something. Okay, today we're going to be going over support, and we're going to be using Nubani as a nice prime example for us here. We're going to talk about the defending team here, right? So the defending team here is the Winston, Ashe, Hanzo, Brig, and the Ana. So let's just say you're playing as Ana in this situation. You want to be doing as much damage as you can, as long as you can, right? So what I mean by that is if your Winston is at like 80% full of his HP, and you see their Genji at like 50% of his HP, or if you see their Winston even at like 50% of his HP, it would be better for you to pump more damage into the enemy than for you to be healing your own Winston in this situation. Just because your Winston has so much HP that he's able to take in those additional shots, while you're going to be able to add additional damage to the enemy team. So think about it this way, like it's addition by subtraction, right? So you are adding to your team's value by removing the amount of damage that they're putting into you guys. Curly, that makes zero sense. What are you talking about? Well, if you put a lot of damage into the Genji, right? If the Genji's at 50% HP and you shoot a 70 damage dart into him, right? You shoot him once with Ana. Now all of a sudden, he's super weak. There's no way he's going to be engaging. So that's going to take a lot less pressure off of your Winston. Same thing with shooting the enemy Winston. It's going to cause that enemy Winston to drop down a little bit faster than what he would have before. Now, if your Winston starts getting down to that 50% HP range, definitely you want to start healing him, right? You need to think about who they have on the enemy team and how much pressure they're going to actively apply to your Winston or to your tank in general, right? So if they had like a Reaper and a Bastion, those guys output so much more damage than a Genji and a Reaper. So you're going to have to be a little bit more attentive to your tank in those situations. So when they have a little bit lower of a damage comp like they do here, right? They have a Juno, Brig, Ashe, Genji, Winston. The only person there that can really output a lot of damage in a quick amount of time is their Ashe, using headshots, dynamite, all that shenanigans, right? So you can do a little bit more damage against low damage team comps, and you can let your tank's HP fall a little bit further than what you typically would against higher damage team comps. So like I said, if they had a Reaper, you have to be a little bit more tentative, because that Reaper can, I don't know how many shots off the top of my head it takes, but let's just say it takes Reaper 5 shots to kill your Winston. That's probably not as many as it actually would take, but let's just use hyperbole here, right? So you need to be a little bit more tentative to your tank in those situations. So let's just say your tank is at 50% HP, right? Your Winston's at 50% HP, and he's just chilling over here. But you see your Hanzo's at 50% HP over here, and he's also chilling. Now, the person I would like you to heal in this situation, if both of them aren't actively engaging the enemy, aka shooting and getting shot at by the enemy, I want you to heal your Hanzo first, because he has a much smaller health pool, right? Your Winston at half HP has like 250 something HP, right? The Hanzo at half HP, he only has 125 HP at half HP. So you need to take that into account. If your Winston's actively being shot at, so let's just say your Winston's at half HP and he's down here trying to damage the enemy team, and your Hanzo is at half HP, I want you to be healing your Winston now. And this is because your Winston's in a more dangerous situation than your Hanzo is. Your Hanzo's back here taking cover, just chillaxing. He's not really doing a whole lot in this situation. The odds of him dying are pretty low. Your Winston's odds of dying up here are very high. So you need to be putting more attention to your Winston in this situation. So I always like to say the mantra of heal when you have to, do damage when you can. When your team is basically full HP, I like to give the rule of thumb of like between 70 and 80% full HP. Definitely just focus as much damage as you can. Now, with better players, those numbers will have to change, right? Like I was saying earlier, damage output by the enemy team, how much danger they're in. Overwatch is a game of situations. We could talk about situations for the next 6 months of our lives using the same exact team comp and the same exact map. And we could talk about it 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next 6 months, and we still probably won't cover every single situation that could happen here. So you're going to have to take these generalizations I give you and kind of extrapolate them and implement them into your own game. Because what I'm going to be teaching you here is going to be different than what you're actually going to be seeing in your Overwatch game. And you have to really ingrain that into your head. You have to take what I'm telling you here and apply it as much as you can, but then you're also going to have to extrapolate this information and kind of think for yourself. I can lead you to water, I can't make you drink. You kind of have to make these connections for yourselves, and you kind of have to create your own playstyle using these connections. I can tell you what works and what doesn't work, and then off of that, that's how you should be building your own personal playstyle, and that's how you should be trying to play the game. So the next thing I want to talk about is survivability, right? So positioning. Ana's positioning is super crucial because she has 0 movement abilities, right? If she's positioned down here on low ground, this is awful positioning because look at how much space there is down here. There's literally no cover here except for cart, which is why defenders use this high ground, because as soon as the attackers try and come along and try and start contesting cart, well, now they're basically in a bowl, right? They're in a soup bowl, and they can get shot at from all the different angles from everywhere. And you don't want that, especially as an Ana who has no mobility. So being down here is awful positioning. So try and use high ground as much as you can, as long as it's practical. Right? So on top of using high ground, you also want to be using corners and walls, because those corners and walls, think about them as like a Reinhardt shield. You can't shoot through them, unfortunately, but they have an infinite amount of HP. Nobody can pierce those walls, minus Hansa Wall and whatever else, right? Nothing can pierce those walls, so you're safe. So those walls work as an infinite HP shield from Reinhardt. So I really want you to be trying to utilize as much high ground and as much cover as you can, because the less damage that you take means you can do more for your team. Because the less damage you take, now all of a sudden you can peek out a little bit more and try and get a little bit more greedy with getting an elimination on their Ashe if she jumps up to high ground. Or get a little bit more greedy if their Winston jumps up here and dives their Ashe, right? You can, with more HP, you can do more. So try and mitigate the amount of damage that you take. Additionally, that leads me to knowing your biggest threat. So here, when we're looking at this, your biggest threat are the people who can get to high ground quickly and efficiently. So that would be the Winston and the Genji. The Ashe can too. You have to put that on kind of your back burners, right? You have to think about this. Like, you should always be tabbing in your game. Always be tabbing in your game. You should figure out who your team has, where your team is positioned, and then you should also be alt tracking for your team. Because alt tracking for your team is super important, because let's just say your Winston dives in here and starts going onto their backline, and you don't realize he has Primal. Now, a really bad Ana player would just drop off high ground to try and heal him, right? Because Ana doesn't have a great angle over here, right? She has a very, very bad angle in this back corner to heal Winston when he's all the way up mid, all the way up here, right? So a bad Ana would drop off the high ground, try and heal their Winston, not knowing that their Winston has Primal. So it's very, very crucial for you to know exactly where your team's at so you can heal them efficiently. So if they start calling for help, if they're in a 1v1, let's just say the Ashes are in a 1v1, right? And for some reason your Ashe is positioned over here and their Ashe is positioned over here. You need to know where your Ashe is at all times. Because now all of a sudden, as soon as they come onto VC, they're like, ring, 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 Ana, why the fuck aren't you healing me? And all of a sudden you're caught with your pants down and you're just like, I don't know where my Ashe is at. You don't want that shit, right? That's how your Ashe gets easily eliminated. If you can help your DPS turn a 1v1 into a 2v1, the odds of them winning that fight astronomically go through the roof. And as soon as you get an elimination in Overwatch, you can snowball that, right? One elimination leads to 2, leads to 3, leads to 4, right? Addition by subtraction. You subtract somebody on the enemy team. You send them back to spawn. Ashe back into spawn. That means they're outputting less damage. Since they're outputting less damage, that means you have to heal less. And since you have to heal less, that means you're doing more damage. Doing more damage so leads to more eliminations. Now, I don't want you as Ana just to sit here and shoot the enemy Winston all game, because that does nothing for you, right? Now, yes, it does some stuff. If their Winston's really weak, who cares? But if we're talking about a full HP Winston here that's just about to go into a fight, now you should be poking out a Winston in most engagements, but that's not really your job. Your job is to try and find a DPS and try and help eliminate them, because Ana, she is a hit scan character when ADSing, so you can easily do a load of damage to Genji when he's trying to climb up these walls, when he's trying to dive anybody. As long as you're a good shot, you can do a lot of damage to Genji and get him off of your Ashe. So now the Genji can't just dive your Ashe here, right? Now the Genji just can't get free reign onto your Ashe, because before he even gets up here, oh look, he's missing 70 of his HP. Now one singular dynamite and a headshot all of a sudden kills the Genji with ease. Okay? So I want you to know your biggest threat, and I want you to make mental notes of where they're at all times and what abilities they have. So like we said, these two are your biggest threats because they have hypermobility. They can get up to high ground very quickly and very easily. So I want you to be making note of that. Now Winston's jump comes off cooldown with every 5 seconds. So Winston no jump at a lower rank doesn't really mean a whole lot because nobody's going to be able to really capitalize on that. But I want you to be focusing mostly on Winston bubble, because odds are Winston's not going to be engaging into a fight unless if he has bubble. If he doesn't have bubble and he's engaging into a fight, I want you to be alt tracking that and calming that to your team, telling your team like, Winston no bubble. Like, when this stupid Winston just jumped us and he has no bubble. Everybody, take 2 seconds out of your day and just put, just a couple shots into this Winston. Then all of a sudden this Winston evaporates you back and spawn perfect. Now, with Genji, you need to be ability tracking, his deflect and his dash, right? His dash is very important for him closing the gap between him and one of your teammates, right? And his deflect is very important for mitigating damage to himself. So both of those abilities are super crucial to Genji. Now, if you see the Genji jump up here and start going onto your Ashe, like if we see him dash up here, go up onto your Ashe, that Genji is counting on that elimination there, okay? That Genji is absolutely counting on him eliminating your Ashe in this situation. So you really, really need to make sure that Genji can't eliminate your Ashe. Because if he eliminates your Ashe, he gets his dash cooldown back. Once he gets his dash cooldown back, that's his get out of jail free card. Be like, oh, now I'm going to dash back to my team, or I'm going to dash wherever the fuck to get safe and get away from your team so he doesn't die. So I really want you to think about where your team's at, where the enemy team's at, and what your team has and what the enemy team has. Basically, alt tracking for your team, figure out who has ultimate and when they have ultimate, and then figuring out who's the biggest threat on the enemy team and what abilities do they have to actively pressure you or to help them win their engagement on you. So support players, they have their utility for their team is absolutely disgusting. They have such great utility for their team that all of their abilities are crucial in a team fight. So you need to be very deliberate about when you use abilities. So let's just say everybody's stacking down here, right? Everybody's set back to normal. You're playing Ana, once again. We'll just say Ana. Now, everybody's stacked down here. Like at the very beginning of the choke, right by this crosswalk, all the way down here, right? At the very, very beginning. Everybody's stacked down at the very, very bottom, right? Right by this little crosswalk down here, right? Everybody's stacked down here. Sorry for the image layers. They're a little bit larger. I just want you guys to be able to see them very easily and clearly. So they're all going to be stacked down here. So everybody's down here. Now, if you're playing Ana here, does it make sense for you to yeet your grenade across the map at their, even if it hits their back line here, right? Even if you throw your grenade all the way back there and you get 3 people, how many people are actually going to be able to follow up on that? Basically just your Winston here, right? Your Winston's going to be the only one that's going to be able to actually follow up on that type of damage, on that ability that you just used. And that ability is very, very crucial for Ana because that's basically her I win the fight now card, okay? That's the I win the fight now card as Ana. Now, if you think about it this way and you allow the enemy team to move up a little bit further, so we're going to be talking about a little bit of a kill box here. You let them move up a little bit further on their engagement here. And now you throw a nade, and it hits their Juno, their Brig. Let's just say it's those two, right? And these two Winstons are up here jerking each other off. This Ashe is up on this high ground, and this Genji is stacking, right? These guys push up a little bit too far forward, and now all of a sudden you land a nade here. Now these guys have no way to get back to cover safely, right? Because this is a giant bowl. They're in a bowl right now. They can get shot at from all of these different angles on the map with zero protection down here. So it would behoove you to save those crucial abilities like Ana Nade until they get into this little kill box area. Once they get into that kill box, then you'd want to be trying to throw your nade on them, because now for them to rotate anywhere, they would either have to rotate into your team more to get cover back here, rotate all the way on to point, which I hope by then somebody on your team would hopefully shoot them and kill them, or rotate under here by the mega, super far rotation, or even rotating back to that mega underneath of there, which is also a very long rotation. Hopefully by then, one of your teammates will be able to capitalize on the ante that you landed on them and hopefully get clean eliminations. Doing damage with Ana is really cool, but getting eliminations is a lot fucking cooler, man. So you just need to be very cognizant of when you're using abilities. Now let's just say instead of running Winston and Genji, they were running like Reinhardt and Cassidy, right? Let's just say they were running Reinhardt and Cassidy. Now, do you really need like to have your sleep dart on you ready at all times? Not really. So in situations like this, I'm more okay with you yeeting your sleep at somebody as long as they don't have somebody to actively pressure you here. So if these two were Reinhardt and Cassidy, nobody's going to be able to actively pressure you. So I'm okay with you shooting sleep down mid and trying to get some sort of value. I'm always a big proponent for going for plays. And even if they don't work, I'm more okay with you going for plays than for you not going for plays. Okay? Going for plays will typically lead you to more fight wins than just sitting there and doing nothing and waiting for the enemy team to do something. Okay? So now let's just say you're in Brig situation here. You kind of need to have your own role within the team. So Ana's role is to try and do as much damage to the smaller hitbox characters as much as possible, because she's a hit scan. So like the Genji, the Ashe, the Juno, even sometimes the Brig, right? And if she has to shoot Winston, she'll shoot Winston, right? Now you as Brig, your main job is to keep your Ana and your DPS alive. So the way you're going to keep your Ana alive is basically by stacking with her, and whenever Winston jumps, I want you to whip shot that Winston to get him off the high ground. Now Winston has another 5-second cooldown to try and jump up on this high ground again, right? And now, while he's waiting for that cooldown, now everybody shoots at him. And now he has to use his bubble to stay alive down here. And now he has to use his jump to actually disengage. And now he has to wait another, 10, 12 seconds for his bubble to come back before he can re-engage again. Overwatch is kind of like a time waster like that. If you can force people to use abilities and cooldowns before they want to use them, you're winning. Okay? You're winning in one way or another. So your primary objective as Brig is to keep your Ana alive, and then also keeping your DPS alive, trying to armor pack them, keep them up so Ana can keep doing what she's doing. As soon as you get away from either of these two objectives, as either of these two characters, now all of a sudden your team function kind of breaks down. Now the Ana's trying to heal the Hanzo, and the Ana maybe not be the best shot, so she misses a couple shots on the Hanzo. Now all of a sudden your Winston's starting to get weak, and now you as Brig, you're going to have to start armor packing the Winston. And now you have no armor packs for when the Winston jumps up here, and now all of a sudden the Winston bubble cuts off you and the DPS, and now Ana can't heal through the bubble. And so now it's just a cascading effect, a snowball effect, right? So you guys have to kind of stay to your roles here. Now, that's not saying that's the only thing you could do. Like, you can never, as Brig, you can never heal Winston. That's stupid. That's really, really dumb to have, like, a finite answer like that in a game so dynamic as Overwatch. I really want you to be loose and fluid with it, but just know that's your general principle as playing these characters. You generally want to be doing this. That may not always happen, because that's just the way Overwatch is. It's not a finite game. It's not set in stone. Shit changes all the time. Now, for that free coaching, what I want you to do to receive a free coaching session from yours truly, I want you to sub, like, and leave a comment, right? I know I'm asking you to do a lot. Oh my Lanta. This is like the worst thing that you'll ever have to do in your life is to sub, like, and comment on a random YouTuber's video, but bear with me. Sub, like, and comment. On that comment, I want you to leave your rank and your Discord user ID. So when I go through and I randomly pick out 3 people from my comment section, I'm going to reach out to you on Discord. So please like, subscribe, and comment, leaving your rank and your Discord ID, and I will pick out 3 of you to coach on any given day. As long as I'm free and available and you're free and available, we'll work out a day to get the free coaching done. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.